The US Senate has voted to avert a government shutdown that would have affected hundreds of thousands of federal workers. The vote on spending came after a deal between the Republicans and the Democrats, with just hours left to avoid the crisis. It will now go to a vote in the House of Representatives. At least 116 people are now known to have died in a battle between rival gangs in Ecuador. It's the worst prison violence in the country's history. The police officer who kidnapped, raped and murdered the Londoner Sarah Everard has been sentenced to life in prison. He used COVID lockdown rules as a pretense to arrest and handcuff her. And 11 days after it first erupted, lava continues to pour into the sea on La Palma, 25 acres so far, triggering plumes of vapour and gas.
Israel's foreign minister visits Bahrain to open Israel's embassy in the Arab state, 1 year after the U.S. helped negotiate normalized ties. In Ecuador, the president declares a state of emergency in the country's prison system after violence at a jail in Guayaquil left at least 116 prisoners dead. In Bangladesh, UN and police officials say unidentified gunmen killed Mohib Ullah, a leader of ethnic Rohingya Muslims in a refugee camp. And Algeria begins production of China's Sinovac coronavirus vaccine, aiming to provide 1 million injections in October.
This is really special. This is very significant to me on my cultural side as a Native Hawaiian.
After a months-long pause, Kilauea is once again erupting at its summit. We have new video of the fiery fountains as high as 100 feet, flooding the floor of Halemaumau crater with lava.
I think it's amazing. And we'll have a chat about what this latest eruption means for the air quality.
Since Kilauea hasn't been erupting for a while, it's been fog-free for the Big Island as well as the rest of the state. But that's likely to change.
Right now, the park remains open 24 hours a day.
And we have tips for the thousands expected to flock to Volcanoes National Park to see Madame Pele in action. All this and more coming up on This Is Now.
The new leader of Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party is wasting no time in picking his party executives. On Wednesday, Kishida Fumio won the party's presidential election. He is virtually assured of becoming Japan's prime minister next week. Aso Taro is likely to be party vice president. He's been deputy prime minister and finance minister for about 9 years. Kishida is likely to tap Amari Akira for party secretary general. Amari has held many cabinet and party posts. He was Japan's lead negotiator for what was formerly known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Takaichi Sanae is likely to become the party's Policy Research Council chairperson. She competed against Kishida in the LDP leadership election. Fukuda Tatsuo is likely to be named as the General Council chairperson. He's the son of former Prime Minister Fukuda Yasuo. Kono Taro is likely to be the chairperson of the Public Relations Headquarters. Kono came in second to Kishida in Wednesday's leadership election. He's currently Japan's Regulatory Reform Minister. Matsuno Hirokazu is likely to be appointed as Chief Cabinet Secretary for Kishida's new cabinet. Matsuno is a former education minister. A large and very powerful typhoon is approaching Japan. Mindule is expected to pass very close to Japan's Izu Islands from dawn to early afternoon on Friday, bringing strong winds and rough weather. The meteorological agency says the typhoon is over the sea south of Japan, moving north-northeast. Winds are expected to pick up as it nears the Izu Islands early Friday morning. The meteorological agency says the wind could topple some utility poles. The town of Hachijo has issued an evacuation advisory for the elderly and people with disabilities. Evacuation centers have been set up in 7 locations. Very strong winds may strike the coastal areas of Kanto, Tohoku, and Tokai on Friday. Transportation in some areas of Kanto could be affected. Waves are also expected to rise off the coasts of the Kanto and Tokai regions far from the typhoon's center. High waves and rough seas will likely continue to Saturday. Heavy rain is also expected on the Pacific side of eastern and northern Japan on Friday. Extremely heavy rain is expected on the Izu Islands. People there are advised to be on high alert for landslides. They're also advised to be on the alert for flooding in low-lying areas and swollen rivers. Turning to the coronavirus situation here in Japan, nearly 1,600 new cases were reported across the country on Thursday. Tokyo reported 218 new infections, less than half of the number a week ago. Daily cases in the capital have been under 300 for 5 consecutive days. But medical workers are preparing for Japan's 6th surge. The previous wave left some infected pregnant women unable to find hospital care. A woman in Chiba Prefecture lost her baby after giving birth at home. This woman delivered her baby in August. After she tested positive for the virus, the hospital where she'd planned to give birth said it could no longer admit her. A hospital in Tokyo has secured 7 new beds for pregnant women infected with the coronavirus. The hospital in Sumida Ward accepted the woman. It plans to continue to give priority to expectant mothers as it prepares for the 6th wave.
Faced with the coronavirus situation, we always think of making every effort to help pregnant women in any way we can. We will try our best to do this.
The sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been raising her profile in recent weeks. This comes as the country has test-fired several missiles, including one believed to be a new type.
김여정 대의원을 국무위원회 위원으로 보선했습니다.
North Korea's state-run TV reported on the Supreme People's Assembly. It said Kim Yo-jong has joined the commission that oversees state organizations made up of about 10 members. Kim Yo-jong has frequently released statements on North Korea's relations with the United States and South Korea. She issued a statement on September 15th criticizing South Korea's test firing of a submarine-launched ballistic missile. Another statement from her on September 25th raised the possibility of an inter-Korean summit under certain conditions. Experts say her appointment to the top governing body suggests she's rising in the country's leadership. Thursday marks 1 month since the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan. With the Taliban once again in charge, stability in Afghanistan still feels some way off. A series of fatal attacks believed to have been carried out by a regional arm of the Islamic State militant group has killed many civilians, including children. The group, which opposes the Taliban, blew up several of their vehicles in the eastern city of Jalalabad. The Taliban have been putting criminals on the alert through high-profile capital punishment. Several men accused of kidnapping were killed in a gun battle and their bodies put on display. The public nature of the act reminds many of the previous period of Taliban rule. In addition, some Taliban hardliners are said to have ties with the Al-Qaeda terrorist organization. This has led to concerns in the international community that Afghanistan could once again become a hotbed of terrorism. Concerns about peace and stability in Afghanistan are growing, both at home and abroad. As we've been reporting, people along the southeastern parts of Japan are bracing for the impact from Typhoon Mindule. Our meteorologist Sayaka Mori has the forecast in World Weather.
As you can see, the satellite imagery, Mindule has a huge eye in its center and it has symmetrical, beautiful shape. We have some video taken from the plane. As Typhoon Mindule pushes closer to Japan, its large eye and impressive clouds were caught on camera. Professor Tsuboki of Nagoya University captured this view from the air on Wednesday. This system is currently a very strong typhoon, the second highest on the typhoon category. The system has a very, very strong winds and heavy rainfall as well. The system will likely hit the Izu Islands on Friday morning local time, and then it will pass to the south of the Tokyo region as we go into Friday afternoon. This is a large typhoon. That means although the center will stay over the waters, the Tokyo area will certainly feel the effects of the storm, including strong winds, high waves, and also heavy rainfall. Izu Islands might see 300 millimeters of rainfall. The Kanto region could see 150 millimeters of rain. Of course, very strong winds expected along the Pacific coast. The Izu Islands could see up to 180 kilometers per hour. Very strong winds are expected to pound the island. Meanwhile, in Australia, a huge tornado was sighted in parts of New South Wales. Even giant hail fell in the area. That's it from me. Stay safe.